First contact the stars had always been silent until today. Commander James Walker stood rigid on the bridge of the United Earth Defense Station, his coffee mug frozen halfway to his lips. The sensor officer's voice cracked as she spoke. "Sir, we have multiple contacts emerging from hyperspace. Count is ... still climbing. 200. 300. Sir, we have over 500 unknown vessels." The coffee mug slipped from James's hand, shattering on the metal floor. Nobody moved. To clean it, the alien ships were beautiful and terrible. Each vessel looked like it had been carved from a single massive crystal, reflecting light in ways that hurt to observe directly. They arranged themselves in perfect formation at the edge of the solar system, just beyond Neptune's orbit. Their presence was deliberate, calculated, a show of force. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer announced. His hands trembled over the controls. The main screen flickered to life. The creature that appeared made everyone on the bridge take an involuntary step backward. It stood 9 feet tall, with skin like polished silver. 4 arms emerged from its torso, each ending in hands with too many fingers. Its eyes were black pools that seemed to pull in light. "I am Supreme Commander Krall of the Dominion Empire." The creature spoke through a translation device that gave its voice a mechanical quality. "Your species has been designated as number 4721 in our catalog. You will now receive the terms of your incorporation into our empire." James found his voice. "This is Commander James Walker of Earth. We demand to know your intentions." The alien's face showed what might have been amusement. "Demands? You misunderstand your position, primitive. You do not make demands. You receive instructions. Your planet contains resources we require. Your population will serve as laborers. Your leaders will kneel before Dominion authority. You have 48 hours to prepare for our arrival. Resistance will result in the elimination of your species." The transmission ended. In the emergency bunker beneath New York, President Maria Rodriguez sat at the head of a long table. The world's leaders appeared on screens around the room. Everyone had seen the transmission. Everyone understood the threat. Options? Maria asked simply. General Tom Anderson cleared his throat. "Madam President, our entire space fleet consists of 50 combat vessels. They have 500. Our weapons are conventional projectiles and lasers. Theirs ... We don't even understand their technology yet, so we surrender?" The French Prime Minister's voice carried across the video link. "We never surrender," Maria said quietly. "Not our freedom. Not our home. Then we die with honor?" The Japanese representative asked. Maria turned to a woman sitting quietly in the corner. "Dr. Park, I think it's time you tell everyone about Project Titan." Dr. Lisa Park stood up slowly. She was small, barely 5 feet tall, with gray hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. But when she spoke, the room fell silent. 20 years ago, we found something on Mars. Technology. Advanced. We've been reverse engineering it ever since. We built something. One ship. But it's unlike anything else we have. She activated a hologram in the center of the table. A massive ship appeared in miniature, angular, black, bristling with weapons. The U.E.'s Vengeance. 3 kilometers long. Powered by 12 fusion reactors. Armed with antimatter cannons, plasma weapons, and adaptive shielding based on the Martian technology. One ship against 500? The Russian president looked skeptical. One very special ship, Lisa corrected, with one very special crew. Deep. In the asteroid belt, hidden inside a hollowed-out rock the size of a small moon, Captain Robert Stone received the encrypted message. He read it twice, then activated the ship's intercom. "All hands, this is the captain. Project Titan is now active. I repeat, Project Titan is active. Battle stations. 5,000 men and women moved with practiced precision. They had trained in secret for 10 years. They were the best humanity had to offer: pilots, engineers, soldiers, scientists. They had one job: protect Earth. The Vengeance's fusion cores hummed to life. Lights flickered on along its massive hull. Weapon systems charged. The adaptive shields shimmered into existence. Navigation, plot a course for Earth, Stone ordered. But keep us hidden for now. Let's see what these Dominion bastards do first. Back on Earth, President Rodriguez prepared humanity's response. She stood before the camera, knowing her words would reach the alien fleet. Her voice was steady, determined. Supreme Commander Krall, Earth has considered your terms. We have an answer. She paused, letting the moment build. We choose freedom. We choose to fight. And we choose to win. Asterisk the surprised the Dominion fleet. Moved with mechanical precision toward Earth, Supreme Commander Krall stood on his command ship's bridge, watching the tactical display with satisfaction. The humans had chosen death. So be it. He had offered them mercy, and they had refused. Begin the assault, Krall ordered. Target their orbital defenses first. The first wave of Dominion ships accelerated toward Earth's defensive line. 30. Human vessels waited near the moon, forming humanity's first barrier. General Anderson commanded from the lead ship, the U.E.S. Thunder. All ships hold formation. Anderson's voice echoed across the fleet communications. Wait for them to enter optimal range. The space between Earth and Moon became a battlefield. Human railguns fired tungsten rounds at incredible speeds. Laser batteries charged and released focused beams of destruction. Missiles streaked through the vacuum. For a moment, it seemed humanity might hold. Then the Dominion ships activated their shields. The human weapons struck harmless, energy barriers that shimmered like soap bubbles. Not a single Dominion vessel was damaged. Their return fire was devastating. Beams of green energy sliced through human ships like paper. The U's Thunder split in half, venting atmosphere and bodies into space. General Anderson's final transmission was a screen-cut short dot in 15 minutes. Earth's first defensive line was gone. 30 ships reduced to floating debris. Krall nodded with satisfaction. As expected, primitive weapons against Dominion shields. Continue advancing. On Earth, President Rodriguez watched the destruction in horror. The bunker's main screen showed the tactical display, 30 blue dots winking out one by one. Each dot represented hundreds of lives. God help us, someone whispered. No, Maria said firmly. We help ourselves. Send the signal to Captain Stone. In the asteroid belt, Robert Stone received the coded message. Light the match. Navigation, take us out. Full speed toward Earth, Stone commanded. Weapons, charge the antimatter cannons. Let's introduce ourselves properly. The Vengeance emerged from its hiding place like a predator breaking cover. The massive Dreadnought accelerated faster than should have been possible for its size. The Martian technology had given them inertial dampeners that defied conventional physics. Lieutenant Adam White sat at the weapons console. Captain, antimatter cannons charged and ready. 10 Dominion ships in optimal range. Fire. 10 beams of pure antimatter erupted from the Vengeance. They crossed the vast distance in seconds. When they struck the Dominion ships, matter met antimatter. In violent annihilation. The alien vessels didn't just break apart. They ceased to exist. The explosions were visible from Earth's surface. Brief new stars in the daylight sky. On the Dominion command ship, Krall's 4 arms gripped his command. Chair. What was that? Report. 10 ships ... gone, Supreme Commander. Complete antimatter annihilation. The humans have antimatter weapons. Impossible. They're primitives. They shouldn't have discovered antimatter weaponry for another 1,000 years. His sensor officer's voice shook. Supreme Commander, there's a ship. It wasn't there before. It's massive. The Vengeance appeared on their screens. 3 kilometers of human engineering and alien technology fused into something neither species had imagined possible. Its black hull seemed to absorb light. Weapons ports glowed with barely contained energy. Captain Stone opened a channel to the Dominion fleet. Supreme Commander Krall, this is Captain Robert Stone of the UES Vengeance. You wanted us to bow. Instead, let me introduce you to humanity's answer. The Vengeance fired again. This time, 20 antimatter beams lanced out. 20 more Dominion ships vanished in brilliant explosions. The perfect formation of the alien fleet wavered for the first time. All ships evasive maneuvers. Krall commanded. Return fire. Destroy that abomination. Hundreds of green energy beams converged on the Vengeance. They struck its shields and nothing. The adaptive shielding absorbed the energy, redistributed. It learned from it. Each hit made the shield stronger. Dr. Lisa Park watched from the Vengeance's engineering section. The Martian shield technology was working perfectly. It didn't just block energy. It adapted to it, evolved against it. The Dominion's weapons were becoming less effective with each shot. Captain, shields holding at 98%, she reported. The adaptation matrix is learning their weapon frequency. Stone smiled grimly. Then let's return the favor. All weapon stations, fire at will. The Vengeance became a fortress of destruction. Antimatter cannons, plasma projectors, and railguns fired in coordinated patterns. Dominion ships tried to dodge, but the Dreadnought's targeting computers predicted their movements with frightening accuracy. On Earth, people watched from their homes as the night sky lit up with explosions. The impossible was happening. Humanity was fighting back and winning. Asterisk. The battle turned Supreme Commander Krall had conquered 100 worlds. He had never seen tactics like this. The human Dreadnought didn't fight like civilized species. It didn't maintain optimal firing distance. It didn't follow predictable attack patterns. Instead, the Vengeance dove straight into the Dominion formation like a madman with a knife in a gunfight. They're insane, Krall's tactical officer said, watching the human ship ram through their formation. No species fights this close? Captain Stone stood calmly as his ship shook from proximity explosions. Helm, execute maneuver Charlie 7. Let's show them how humans dance. The Vengeance suddenly reversed thrust while spinning on its axis, bringing its ventral weapons to bear on ships that thought they were safe behind it. Antimatter beams carved through 3 Dominion cruisers. Before they could react, launch fighters, Stone-ordered bay doors opened along the Vengeance's hull. 500 small, single-pilot fighters streamed out like angry hornets. Each pilot was human, each mind unique and unpredictable. Lieutenant Sarah Johnson led Eagle Squadron toward a cluster of Dominion ships. Remember your training. They think in patterns. We think in chaos. Eagle Squadron, rake, and attack. The fighters scattered in 50 different directions, each pilot choosing their own target, their own approach. A Dominion's targeting computers, designed to track organized formations, couldn't process the randomness. Sarah dove beneath a Dominion destroyer, firing missiles into its underbelly where the shields were weakest. Another pilot, Mike Thompson, actually landed on a Dominion ship's hull and planted explosive charges before flying away. A third pilot, David Kim, flew through the narrow gap between 2 enemy vessels, causing them to fire on each other in confusion. Supreme Commander, Krall's aide reported, voice rising in pitch. We've lost 70 ships. Their fighters they're not following any tactical doctrine we recognize. They're primitives, Krall roared. How are they doing this? The answer was simple. Humans didn't fight like the Dominion expected. The Dominion had conquered thousands of species, all of whom fought with logic, patterns, and predictable strategies. Humans fought with instinct, creativity, and controlled chaos. Captain Stone watched the tactical display. The Dominion fleet was adapting, starting to compensate for human unpredictability. Time to change tactics again. Dr. Park, how's our special surprise? Lisa's voice came through the comm. The pulse weapon is charged, Captain. But we only get one shot. The power drain will knock out our shields for 30 seconds. 30 seconds is a lifetime in battle. It's also enough time to cripple half their fleet if we target their command cluster. Stone made the decision. All fighters, return to base immediately. Emergency recall. The fighters streaked back toward the Vengeance, dodging enemy fire. Not all made it. Stone watched grimly as dozens of blue dots vanished from his screen. Each one was a person, a life, a story ended. All fighters recovered. Pulse weapon ready, the tactical officer reported. Target the center of their formation. Fire. The Vengeance's hull split open along hidden seams. A massive cannon emerged, crackling with electromagnetic energy. The pulse that erupted from it was invisible to the naked eye, but its effects were immediate. Not every Dominion ship within 1,000 kilometers suddenly went dark. Their shields failed. Their engines died. Their weapons went silent. The electromagnetic pulse had fried their systems. All weapons, fire everything we have. Stone commanded. For 30 seconds, the Vengeance was vulnerable. But for 30 seconds, so were 100 Dominion ships. Antimatter beams, plasma bolts, and kinetic rounds tore through defenseless alien vessels. The space around Earth became a graveyard of crystalline debris. But 30 seconds passed. The Vengeance's shields were still recharging when the surviving Dominion ships opened fire. The Dreadnought shook violently. Hull breaches appeared on 3 decks. Warning, klaxons screamed. Hull breach, sections 12 through 15, someone shouted. Casualties in engineering. We've lost fusion reactor 3. Stone gripped his command chair. Damage control teams respond. Keep us in the fight. In engineering, Dr. Park worked frantically to reroute power. Sparks flew from damaged consoles. The air smelled of burning, circuits and ozone. An ensign beside her was bleeding from a head wound, but refused to leave his post. Captain, I can give you shields back, but only at 60%, she reported. Do it. The shields flickered back to life just as another barrage struck. They held barely. On the Dominion command ship, Krall watched the battle with growing unease. They were winning, technically. The human Dreadnought was damaged, its fighters depleted. But they had lost almost 200 ships. No primitive species had ever inflicted such losses on the Dominion. Supreme Commander, his communications officer interrupted. We're receiving signals from the inner system. The humans' remaining fleet is moving to engage. 20 human ships, the survivors of Earth's defense force, accelerated toward the battle. They were outmatched, outgunned, and facing certain death. They came anyway. President Rodriguez's voice broadcast across all channels. All ships, all fighters, all of humanity. This is our moment. Fight for Earth. Fight for freedom. Fight for the future. Asterisk humanity's determination, the 20 remaining Earth ships were mosquitoes attacking wolves. But they attacked with the fury of those defending. Their home guard captain Alex Chun commanded the UES Liberty, a frigate 1/20th the size of a Dominion battleship. Target their damaged ships. Hit them where they're already bleeding. The human fleet coordinated with the Vengeance, striking from multiple angles. They couldn't penetrate Dominion shields, but they could distract, annoy, and divide attention. On Earth, something extraordinary was happening. President Rodriguez had issued a call for volunteers. Anyone with a space-worthy vessel was asked to join the fight. The response was overwhelming. Mining ships from the asteroid belt loaded themselves with explosives. Private cargo haulers strapped weapons to their hulls. Even luxury yachts joined the gathering fleet. They weren't warships, but they were human. And humans were fighting for survival. Jake Williams was a cargo pilot who had spent 15 years hauling supplies between Earth and Mars. His ship, the Rust Bucket, was held together by prayer and duct tape. He loaded his cargo bay with mining explosives and joined the volunteer fleet. "This is probably suicide," his co-pilot, Emma Brown, said as they accelerated toward the battle. "Probably," Jake agreed. "But if we're going down, we're taking some of them with us." Similar conversations happened on 100 civilian ships. Teachers, miners, traders, doctors. Ordinary people making an extraordinary choice. Back at the main battle, the Vengeance was struggling. Multiple hull breaches. Half its weapons offline. Shields failing. "Captain," Lieutenant White reported, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. "Antimatter cannons are down. We've lost too many power conduits." Stone surveyed his bridge. Half his crew were wounded. The magnificent Dreadnought was dying, but it wasn't dead yet. "Can we still fly?" "Yes, sir." "Can we still ram?" White's eyes widened with understanding. "Yes, sir. We can definitely still ram." "Then plot a collision course with their command ship. If we're going down, we're taking Kroll with us." Dr. Park's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain, wait. I have another option." "Doctor, unless you can pull a miracle, I can." "The experimental jump drive. It's never been tested, but theoretically, it could work." The jump drive was their most experimental technology, reverse engineered from the Martian ruins. It could, in theory, teleport the ship short distances. It had never been tested because the power requirements were enormous and the risk of catastrophic failure was high. "What's the worst-case scenario?" Stone asked. "We explode and take out half the solar system. And the best case? We appear inside their command ship's shields and destroy it from within." Stone didn't hesitate. "Do it." Supreme Commander Kroll watched the damaged human Dreadnought accelerating toward him. "They intend to ram us. Pathetic. All ships, concentrate fire. Destroy them." Hundreds of energy beams converged on the Vengeance. The shields finally failed completely. Hull plates melted. Entire sections vented into space. But still, it came. Then, suddenly, it vanished. "Where did it go?" Kroll demanded. "Find that ship." "Supreme Commander." His sensor officer's voice was barely a whisper. It's inside our shields. It's right behind us." The Vengeance materialized, 50 meters from the Dominion command ship's hull. Every remaining weapon swiveled to point-blank range. Captain Stone smiled. "Fire everything." At point-blank range, inside the shields, there was no defense. Antimatter met matter in catastrophic annihilation. The Dominion command ship, pride of their fleet, ceased to exist in the explosion visible from Jupiter. But the Vengeance paid the price. The experimental jump had overloaded every system. Reactors went critical. Hull integrity failed. "All hands abandon ship," Stone ordered. "Repeat, abandon ship." Escape pods launched in every direction. Stone stayed at his post, manually controlling the dying Dreadnought's final moments, making sure it didn't explode until his crew was clear. Dr. Park refused to leave. "Captain, go. Someone needs to contain the reactor breach or the explosion. We'll catch the escape pods. Doctor, go." "That's an order from the chief engineer." Stone ran for the last escape pod. As it launched, he looked back to see Lisa Park at her console, calmly redirecting the explosion away from the fleeing crew. She saved 800 lives with her sacrifice. The Vengeance exploded in a controlled detonation that took out 3 more Dominion ships. Asterisk victory and warning. Destruction of their command ship shattered Dominion morale. They had never lost a supreme commander in battle. They had never faced a species willing to sacrifice their greatest warship to strike a killing blow. The new Dominion commander, Sub-Commander Vrex, surveyed the battlefield. Half their fleet was gone. The human Dreadnought was destroyed, but Earth's defenders kept coming. The civilian volunteer fleet had arrived, over 200 ships of every size and shape, all willing to die for their world, not the rust bucket. Jake's cargo ship actually managed to crash into a Dominion destroyer, detonating its cargo of mining explosives. The destroyer cracked in half. More importantly, signals were coming from across human space. Mars Colony had launched its defense. Fleet, the Jupiter mining stations had weaponized their ore haulers. Even the research station on Pluto was broadcasting defiance. This wasn't just Earth fighting. This was humanity united. Vrex made a decision that would echo through Dominion history. All ships retreat. Repeat, retreat immediately. The remaining Dominion vessels began to withdraw, but not before Vrex sent a message to both Earth and the Dominion Empire. Humans of Earth, Vrex transmitted, you have earned something no species has earned in 10,000 years, the Dominion's respect. We came to conquer slaves. We found warriors. Then, switching to the Dominion's encrypted channels, Vrex sent a different message to the Empire. Classification update for species 4721. Previous designation, primitive. New designation, extreme hazard. Recommendation, avoid all contact. The humans are not prey, they are predators. President Rodriguez stood before the United Nations, now truly united by survival. The room was somber despite the victory. They had lost thousands. The Vengeance was gone. Heroes like Dr. Park and General Anderson were dead. We won, Maria said simply. But this is just the beginning. They know about us now. Others will come. If not the Dominion, then someone else. We need to be ready. She activated a hologram, showing the wreckage of the Vengeance being recovered. We're going to rebuild. Not just one Dreadnought, but 100. We're going to reverse engineer every piece of Dominion technology we can salvage. And we're going to send our own message to the galaxy. The message, broadcast on all frequencies and in all known languages, was simple but powerful. This is Earth. We are humanity. We seek peace, but we are prepared for war. We offer friendship to all who come in peace. But to those who would threaten our freedom, know this. We have faced your worst and survived. We have paid in blood for our independence. Come as friends and find welcome. Come as conquerors and find death. The choice is yours. Across the galaxy, the message was received by thousands of species living under Dominion rule. On a small world called Kepler 442b, an enslaved race known as the Threll heard humanity's defiance. Their leader, once broken by a century of servitude, stood up straight for the first time in decades. If the humans can fight, he said to his people, so can we. On another world, the insectoid Ziphrons, who had surrendered to the Dominion without firing a shot, began to secretly build weapons. The aquatic Nereids, confined to ocean worlds the Dominion exploited, started planning sabotage. One by one. Across the Empire, sparks of rebellion ignited. The humans had shown it was possible. The Dominion could be beaten. Freedom could be won. Captain Stone, recovering in Earth's orbital hospital, received a visitor. It was a message drone from deep space, using encryption only he would recognize. The message was from an unknown species. Captain Stone, we are the Martians. Yes, we still exist, hidden among the stars. We left our technology for a species that would prove worthy of it. You have proven worthy. The Dominion is only one threat, among many. When you are ready, we will teach you more. Until then, know that humanity is not alone. You have allies you haven't met yet. Stand strong. The galaxy is watching. Stone looked out the window at Earth below. Cities were being rebuilt. The shipyards were working around the clock on new vessels. Humanity had been bloodied, but not broken. The volunteer pilot Jake Williams, who had survived his suicide run when his ship was tractored to safety at the last moment, was being commissioned to help design the next generation of combat vessels. We're going to build them tougher, he told the design team. And we're going to build them with soul. Every ship is going to have humanity's spirit, unpredictable, stubborn, and absolutely refusing to surrender. The War Memorial in New Geneva listed 15,000 names. But beside it stood a new statue, a human figure standing tall, one hand extended in peace, the other holding a sword. The inscription read, "To those who gave everything so humanity could stand free. We remember, we endure, we remain unbroken." In the depths of space, Dominion scouts watched Earth from a safe distance. They reported back to the Empire. The humans are building. They are learning. They are preparing. Recommend maintaining quarantine indefinitely. But other eyes watched. Earth 2. Species seeking hope. Species dreaming of freedom. To them, Earth had become a symbol. Humanity had faced the darkness and lit a flame that would spread across the stars. The story of the vengeance would be told on 1,000 worlds. The day humanity said no. The day the galaxy changed dot, and in the rebuilt schools of Earth, children learned a new lesson. We are humans. We explore. We dream. We stand together. And we never, ever bow. The end, asterisk.